This is the first video in the Baconian Cipher. It's the first of 3 videos, and this one will introduce you to the cipher and we'll work through some simpler problems, and then later on we'll go through some more difficult ones and different types of Baconian ciphers as well. The Baconian cipher is basically a binary cipher in which each plaintext is encoded using a binary key. What I mean is, if you look at the ciphertext here, which is what is given to you, then what is given to you is presented in a binary pattern, where the A's represent zeros and the B's represent ones. So the letter A, its binary encoding would be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And the point of the cipher is to figure out which characters are A's and which are B's in the ciphertext. So based off of the ciphertext, you find the plaintext. And if the ciphertext has, let's say, 5 characters that represent the grouping of A, then that would translate to the plaintext representation of the letter A. If it was 4 characters in the group A followed by 1 in the B, that would give you the letter B. And it goes on all the way to Z, and you'll see that IJ and UV have the same encoding in the ciphertext. So that is something to keep note, and we'll see what happens with that later. But the point is that we need to figure out, first, what are the groups of 5s, and second, where does a particular character or type of character belong in the which group does it belong in, the A group or the B group? And based off that, we translate that into letters. So if I want to look at the example that I set up here, this is a more simple cipher because there's only 2 types of characters here. There's either a P or a Q in the ciphertext. So based off that, you know that A has to be either a Q or a P, and B has to be either a Q or a P, and it can't be the same thing as A. So if A is P, then B is Q, and vice versa. The first step in figuring out which group it falls into is looking at the groupings itself. So I went in and I already broke out this big long string into sets of 5. And within our sets of 5, we need to look at the first 2 characters. This is like the most important, because the first 2 characters, like not in the first, not like first 2 characters in general, but like the first 2 characters within each grouping, they can help us determine which is A and which is B. Because if you look at your cipher, your encodings, the code words, whenever they start with a B, there is no consecutive BB at the start of a 5-letter coding. There's a double A, like for all of these, there is a double A, but for the B's, there's only a B followed by an A. So whenever you see 2 characters of the same type that look like they're the same category, then they can't be B and they have to be A, because you can never have a repeating B consecutive at the start, but you can have a repeating A consecutive at the start. So if I look closely at this one, let me just go through and try to find the first instance where the first 2 characters in a grouping of 5 are not of the same category. And in category, in this instance, is just the letter itself, right? P is one category and Q is another category. And when I look at here, the Q category, it looks like, has a double at the start. So based off that, I automatically know that Q can't be B, because you're never going to see a BB ever, because it's never going to code into any letter. So I know it has to be A because you can see AA. So I'm going to assume this is A. And just to make sure, I'm going to go through the rest of this and check to see there's no double P's. If there's a double P, that means that, we know that we assume that Q is A, so P would then have to be B. But if there's a double P, then that means that even that doesn't work, and our grouping structure itself is wrong, and maybe there's something else we're missing. So maybe the groups are not Q's and P's. Maybe there are, I don't know, letters with dots on one side and dots on the other. It could be various things, right? This is a simple example. I can't really find any other differences except Q and P. But there are other examples where you can find differences between groups that are not just like they're not the same character, but there are different differences between those groups. And in those situations, it's impossible to figure out which one is A or B because they both don't work for B. And so then you have to find a new grouping. But in this case, there's only one grouping, so you know that since there's a double Q, that has to be the A, and a double P would not exist, so the P is just B. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to go start filling out all of this based off of that. If you want, I'll write up, you can write up, the binary version of this. So this would be A, B, 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 A. This would be B, A, A. And you can do that for all of them. In my opinion, it's not required. You can just, go through it in your head while you're looking at the key itself. So, for example, like this A, B, B, A, B, B, A, and then you look at this. Oh, that's P. B, A. That's an R. And this one is A, B, B, A, B. That's an O. This is A, B. It's a B. A, B, A. That's an L. This is A, B, that's an E. That's an A, B, B, that's an M. This is a B, B. So that's a S, I believe. Yep. This is a O, A, B, so that's an O. A, B, A, that's an L. Here we have something interesting. We got B, B, which is our first double, UV pair. B, B. So in that scenario, I just write down U and V, and then I just move on to the next one. And then at the end, based on how the sentence sounds, you can figure out which one it is usually, if it's a V or a U. Okay. This is an I or a J, so this is another special one. And this is A, B, B, A, so it's an N. And this is a B, B, A, G. Here we have B, A, B. This is A, B, B. That's an H. It's all A's, so that's an A. 1B followed by 4 A's, that's an R. And I'm going through this looking at the key, but ideally we're supposed to memorize this without the key. And so I've lost practice as well, but when I do this honor science Olympiad test, I'm doing this without looking at the key because the key just takes more time to look at, and it's way better if you just memorize the key and you're able to figure it out. Okay, what's A, B, B, B? If you know automatically what that is, you're saving at least 2 or 3 seconds per section, per group of 5, and that's like almost like a minute or 2 in the long run, and that can help you a lot, especially when you get to states and harder competitions. Time begins to matter a lot more. This is a P. This is an E. This is A B B A A, and this is A B A A A B S. This is B A B B. No. B A B B A. That's Y. This is A B B A A B A. That's a U or a V. This is well, no, this is not. This is an O, and then this is a V or a U. This is an R. This is a B A B A A, so it's a W. This is a B A A A, it's an I or a J, and then this is a B A A B A, which is a T. So based on this, we can just go through the sentence and figure out which ones U and V and then I and J are. Problem solving makes sense to me. So I'm gonna take out the U here, and then ing, ing, so take out the J. Sharpens, your makes sense, and V doesn't work here. Your wit. And you can just leave, in Science Olympiad, you can just usually leave the answer like this right under the ciphertext. Okay, here's the next one. Try doing this one by yourself and just figuring out the groupings, which one's A and which one's B. Take a minute, pause the video, and then I'll go through it in a second. Alright, so first step, I drew my category, my 5 splits, so just simplify things, and now I can start figuring out which one's A and which one's B. First I gotta figure out my distinction, my categories. How am I making my categories? I'm making my categories either based off the letters or the case. So they're either in uppercase, lowercase, which is visible, evident to me immediately. But when I look closer at the text itself, there's also it's also made out of combinations of S, T, E, and M. So it could be based off of 2 letters out of S, T, E, and M are in A, and then 2 letters of S, T, E, and M are in B, that are not overlapping. Or they could be an upper lowercase combination. I personally think this one's an upper lowercase because that one's easier to eliminate if it is, and I don't want to commit to the harder version, which is 2 letters being A and B, and then two letters being A and then 2 letters being B, because that's hard to figure out which ones are A and B. But uppercase and lowercase is much easier to figure out, just because of the BB, the double B rule we talked about earlier. So first thing, we look through the first 2 of every single set and figure out if I'm using the uppercase, lowercase, so we figure out if 2 uppercase or 2 lowercase have consecutive pairings. So here we don't, but here we do. So capital letters show up together. So here as well, and then I don't see any lowercase letters consecutive at the start. Yeah. So based off that, I think that A is uppercase, because we talked about how B can't be uppercase, because we don't want a double B. So upper equals A, and lower equals B. So now, based off the key, you can open up the key on your phone or something. You can't see it on the screen, but I'm going to start going through this based off the key and figuring out what each maps out to. Again, I'd recommend memorizing this so that you don't waste time. So let's see. BAA, that's a T. That's a AABBB, H. AABAA, E. That's a G. That's an R, A, A, B, A, A, E. That's all A, so that's an A. B, A, A, B, A, that's a T. And A, A, B, A, A is a E. B, A, A, B is a S. A, B, B, A, B. Oh no, B, A, A, B, A. It's a T again. Greatest, this is A again. This is A, A, B, A. A, 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 B, A, which is C. A, A, B, B, B was an H. A, B, A, A, A is an I or a J. This is a E. B, A, A, B, B, this is a U or a V. This is an E again. This is A, B, A, B, B, it's an M. A, A, B, A, A is E again. A, B, B, A, A is an N. And B, A, A, B, 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 A, B, A is a T. So based off this, I think I can start looking at which ones I's and J's are and the U and V are, because it's the greatest achievement, is what I think. So I'm going to assume that that's correct and cross out the J and then cross out the U. Okay. I, J. B, A, A, B, A is T. A, B, B, A, B. A, B, B, A, B. O. A, B, B, A, B. So it's O. B, A, A, B, B. B, A, A, B, B. Is a U or a V. This is a T. A, B, 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 A is a P. A, B, A, A, E. B, A, 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 A is R. And A, A, B, A, B is an F. This is A, B, B, A, B. That's an O. B, A, 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 R. A, B, A, B, B is an M. So Y. A, B, B, A, B is a O. B, A, A, B, B is a U or a V. B, A, 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 A is a R. B, A, 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 B, A, 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 B. B, triple A, B is a S. A, A, B, A, A is a E. And then A, B, A, B, A is L. And then A, A, B, A, B is an F. So let's fill in our I's and J's that we have left. Okay, so there's one here. I think this is a achievement is. So I'm gonna take out the J. To outperform, I think. Take out the V. Outperform yourself. Makes more sense here. The greatest achievement is to outperform yourself. Alright, that's all for this video. Make sure you watch the next video, because we're going to go over harder types of problems and different scenarios. And yeah, we have more videos coming up on aristocrats and other types of ciphers, so watch those as well, and you'll be ready for regionals and states.